Sounds great. I'm going to hit record or I forget. So pomelos come out usually around December, around Christmas time. Also, Buddha's hand, which if you haven't seen Buddha's hands, they're amazing. It's a form of citron, and they actually look like fingers. So you've got the base, and then you've got fingers that come up and around. Those, they have pretty much no pulp, no juice. It's just the pith. So that's the white interior portion that's kind of bitter. And what the Buddha's hand is used mostly for, one is for decoration. In Asian cultures, they use a lot of it for decorating. Another thing that we use them for would be to candy. So citron is traditionally the candy pieces that you find in fruitcake. So yes, go ahead. My tech support is getting water. Okay, good. You got that fixed for your hearing. Perfect. So you candy the fingers and then you chop them up and use them in fruitcake. You can also use them in your favorite liqueur. You just take a couple of the fingers and pop them into the bottle, and a week or two you'll have some Buddha's hand flavored vodka or gin or your liqueur of choice. So those are two of the very first citrus specialties that come out. And then we kind of jump into the tangerine and mandarin season. So first things we start to see are our kumquats. Kumquats are great. They grow on tiny little bushes. Like you could have a kumquat plant in your house. And they only produce about 50 fruits a year. It takes a while. And so what you do with the kumquat is you pop the whole thing in your mouth, peel and all. Lucy's trying one too. Sorry for admitting some folks. So you get that pop of sweetness from the pulp, but then you also get some of that bitterness from the peel. So it's like a little bite of sunshine. So next on our list is we have these cute little guys. These are Kishu mandarins. Very, very easy to peel. Probably even easier. Lucy, why don't you come around and you can demonstrate? Oh, come on, you're used to being on the camera. Okay, so Kishu mandarins, really easy to peel. Here. Thank you. Very sweet, very delicate. Kids love them. It's so small. Yes. And yeah, they're tiny. So next on our specialty citrus, this is a gold nugget mandarin. So gold nugget mandarin is named so because it's got kind of a bumpy texture and kind of a little more golden in color than some of the mandarins that we see often. If you can see the difference between the two.
Do you think the first fruit was found during the gold rush in California?
No, no, these are a recent hybrid developed out of California. So this one here with the funky little top to it, this is a Mineola tangerine. And again, another, oops, here we go. Sorry about that. Trying to admit folks again. So again, out of the University of California, their citrus program. So they developed these two different types. Ooh, thank you. So this is the Kishu. Nice and sweet.
It tastes like an orange. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's up for my guest appearance.
Yeah, it's really good. So we've got the Mineola, the golden nugget. Next we have, this is a TDE mandarin. So the TDE, it's a triple hybrid. So it was 3 different tangerines or mandarins that they used to develop this one. So it's the Temple, the Dancy, and the Encore. So that's where you get the TDE. And I got to try one of these today at the co-op. They are super duper sweet. Again, easy to peel, nice segmentation, so they're super easy to separate and work with.
You said sweet, so call my name.
Yes. Okay. All right. Down the line, we've got our oranges. So specialty oranges would be, well, this is just a navel. This is,
It's sweet.
it's sweet. It's an orange. The Valencias are the ones that you would probably juice. This is a Cara Cara. So the Cara Cara oranges, or they can also be known as Cava, so C-A-V-A. Oh, Darlene, to switch, you would find the laptop view on the participants. So if you open up the participants, find the laptop view, and you can choose to pin that. Hope that helps. Okay. Cara Cara oranges, they're a little more like grapefruits in flavor, and they have more of a pinkish tone to them. So here is some of the Cara Caras that I cut up, prepared earlier. And I really, really enjoy the Cara Caras. Lucy wants to try a little bit. All right, next, we've got blood oranges, or I've also heard these referred to as berry oranges, because they have almost a raspberry type finish, raspberry or strawberry. And they are just absolutely beautiful when you cut into them. So very spectacular looking. And it's kind of funny because I cut up a couple, and when I cut off the end of one and then turn it around and cut off the other end, you can see the difference in color between the top and the bottom. So this would be the top and that's the bottom. So they change color, and they're deeper hued toward the bottom, which you can see, like this one here's where the stem would be, and this one has all of its coloration on the bottom. I have found though that just because it has all of this deep red color in the peel does not necessarily mean that it's going to be that deep dark red on the inside. I had one earlier this evening that I cut up that didn't really have all of this red, but it was a beautiful deep red when I cut into it. So you're looking for this when you're looking for blood orange, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that color is going to be all the way through. Okay, and then last we've got traditional pink grapefruit, ruby red, which grapefruit is one of my favorite fruits. I like to peel it and then peel the segments. It's tedious work, but I do enjoy doing it. Okay, so that's our little lesson on the different types of specialty citrus that we currently have at the co-op. It's a lot of fun to see all these different ones come in. We also have another, let's see, we had daisy tangerines a couple of weeks ago. We had sumo citrus, which looks a lot like this with the little top knot on it, but they're bigger by quite a bit. And those are really well loved. Right now we have Sky Valley Heirloom Navels, which is an older variety. So look for, just try different citrus and have fun with it, because, it only comes around once a year and then we're gone. You don't get them again. All right, so we are going to start our recipe. The first one we're going to start with is the whipped ricotta cheese, because we have to do the herb infusion. So we've got honey. We need a half a cup of honey. So pretty much my entire bear. I'm using a locally sourced honey. And this one is clover and basswood. I like dandelion honey too, but clover and basswood is by far my favorite. I don't care for dark honeys, but you can use a dark honey in this recipe if that's what you desire or what you have on hand. So we are going to infuse this honey with fresh thyme. And I was kind of surprised when I was putting these recipes together, they all looked delicious and sounded like fun. but several of them call for fresh thyme. So thyme and honey must go together, or I'm sorry, thyme and citrus must go together pretty well. Possible to, yes, I'm going to turn my laptop view here. I just want to make sure. And yeah, I am recording this class, so I will try to, it depends on how fast the recording downloads. It might not be tonight before I can get it, but I will get it downloaded and added to YouTube by Saturday morning. Okay, so we've got our fresh thyme. So we're going to just add those sprigs right to the honey. I'm going to put this on a burner. And we are just going to warm that honey up. This is new to me. I've never done a honey infused with an herb, so this should be interesting, right? Okay, so now that we've got that working, it's going to be about 10 minutes. We're going to switch to the avocado and citrus salsa. Now, if we were to add fresh fish to this, shrimp, scallops, this would be a ceviche because of the amount of juice, of citrus juice. But we're not adding fish, so this is really just a salsa. Okay, so we've got, for this recipe, we've got red onion, we've got avocado, we have jalapeno, and we've got limes, we've got grapefruit, what else? Oh, and some salt. Oh, and some oranges. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to do is chop up our red onion. Nice fine dice is what we're going for with this. So I cut the top and bottom off, remove the outer skin, cut it in half down the middle, and now I'm just cutting directly down through the top. All right, so I think that's probably good for the amount of onion that we're going to use. Okay, sorry, somebody's joining us and my tech support ran away. Okay, so we've got nice fine dice for the onion. We're going to add this to a larger bowl. Next, I'm going to work on that jalapeno. So this is a trick I do with green and red bell pepper. And someone said, oh, you can do that with jalapenos, and then you don't have to worry so much about getting, the seeds out. Don't see onions on the recipe. It's about halfway down, half a cup of finely chopped red onion. So what we're going to do here is I'm just going to cut straight down. That way I don't have to fiddle so much. Still a little bit in there though. Oh well. And grab a spoon and that'll come right out. So now if you wanted this to be really spicy, leave the membranes and the seeds in it. If you wanted to have just a little bit of a kick, remove those seeds and membranes. It's the oils from the membranes that cause jalapenos to be as spicy as they are. Remember, skin side down. When you're cutting any kind of pepper. And I'm then just doing a nice fine chop here. Keeping an eye on that honey. Ooh, okay. It's already boiling, so it won't take long. All right, so there is our jalapeno. Okay, next, avocados. How do you tell if an avocado is ripe? It should have a little bit of give to it, but you don't want it to be squishy. And also, if you peel off the navel, which is where it was attached to the tree, it should have a light green tinge to it. So if it's dark brown, you know that it is no good. Avocados do not ripen until they are picked, which is kind of neat. Look at that. One cool thing about the co-op is we almost always have perfectly ripe avocados. But I will say, I heard that there is likely going to be trouble sourcing avocados coming up because of difficulty with a drug cartel between them and the FDA. So if you, hold on one sec. If you love avocados, you may want to consider buying some, prepping them, and freezing them so that you have them on hand, because they might get kind of dicey to find. So my preference when it comes to avocados is to keep them in the skin and cut them this way. You can obviously scoop out the flesh and chop them up that way. 100%, whatever your choice is. Just want to make sure that when you're working with a knife, you don't want to cut through the skin all the way into your hand, because that could be a problem. So for those of you who have not taken one of my classes before, a little bit of background about me. I am not trained whatsoever. I am self-taught. Big thing, I just really enjoy trying new recipes, trying new cuisine. I get bored easy. So I like to try to keep things different in the kitchen. And when I was a stay-at-home mom, I had time to watch things like Rachel Ray and Ina Garten and all of those fantastic cooking shows. And that is pretty much where I learned some of these skills. Ooh, everybody, my home smells amazing right now with that honey. It smells really good. Okay, so now I'm just taking the avocados, scooping out those diced cubes. So that is done there. Next, we've got to prepare our oranges and grapefruits. Just checking out the honey to make sure it was still doing well. Okay, so how do you prepare your citrus? So you take the top and cut off the top. You want to make sure you get down into that flesh. And then take the bottom, put it down through the bottom, put it down on its flat side, and then You're just going to take your knife and run it around the outside, trying to get off as much of that bitter pith as possible. I'm just going to turn that honey off for now because I don't want to scald it. Okay, so trim it up, anything you see that you can get rid of, go for it. Okay, so you can go by what the recipe says, which is to separate the segments and then break them up, or you can cut them. I'm just looking to see if there's any seeds because I cut through a couple just now. All right, so I'm just separating. And if you have any of those pieces of tougher membrane, you can try to pick that off too. Looking to see. Yes, you could use lemon thyme. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to use that. Obviously, it'll change the flavor profile just a little bit, but not terribly so. One for me. My mother-in-law was on a medication that meant she couldn't have grapefruit. And I always thought, gosh, how I would be so sad if I couldn't have grapefruit. Yeah, she was not a fan of that. I think it might have been blood pressure medication, but I'm not entirely sure, so don't quote me on that. All right, almost done segmenting this grapefruit. And again, I'm pulling out a lot of that membrane just because it's pretty tough. Okay, so that's it for the grapefruit. Next, we've got a carrot orange. So I said that it kind of has a rosy hue to it, which it does. This one will go faster because I'm not going to need to separate out a lot of that tough membrane. It's important to have nice, sharp knives. I remember trying to cook for my dad once, and his butcher knife was so dull, and I started sharpening it, and he was very worried that I was going to hurt myself. I'm like, I'm more apt to hurt myself if it isn't sharp than if it were. Okay, so next, we need lime juice, about the juice of 2 limes. So if you've taken my class and I've worked with lemons and limes before, you'll see me do this trick. But this just helps break up those juices. If your lime is really, really hard, pop it in the microwave for about 20 seconds, and that'll really help. All right, just making sure we don't have any questions that need to be answered, and we don't, so that's great. Okay, so now, if you don't have one of these handy juicers, no worries, use a fork. Last time I used this, I got it right in the eye. Of course. And the fun thing with this recipe is that there's so much citrus juice in it that those avocado pieces are going to stay nice and bright. I'd say this would probably keep in your fridge just for a couple of days. Anything longer than a day or two, and you're probably not going to be too happy with it. Okay, there's two. And one more to go. Then we just add a little bit of salt, stir it up, and this is ready to go. So I only used, sorry, hold on one second. There we go. I only used one orange. It did call for two, but that grapefruit was pretty big. So I don't think we really need to have two. Okay. Now we're going to add a little bit of salt. Give this a nice stir. Such nice bright colors. So I would serve this on fish tacos. Tilapia, I like to bake it up. Wonder, do we need some cilantro in here? We do, ha ha ha. So I've got cilantro here. What did they say? Half a cup. Actually, I need a little bit more. There we go. Now you can do stems and all, or just leaves, but you want to make sure you cut it up pretty well. And again, nice sharp knife so you don't bruise your cilantro. You want to chop it and not crush it. All this citrus juice on my cutting board is getting all over the cilantro. That's okay. It's making it stick to my fingers though. That's not okay. Into the compost. Okay. So now that we've got our cilantro in there, now we can give it a stir. And this is about the time where you would want to taste it and see if you need to add a little bit more salt. Nice and fresh. Okay, so our honey has really cooked down quite a bit. So what we're going to do is strain that out. going to put it directly into the food processor. Hopefully. It's not straining at all. Oh no. Well, that's okay. That's our thyme right there. Yep, so the thyme just came out in one big clump. A little bit more in here. Changed the color drastically, didn't it? Okay, sorry, we got somebody coming in. So we're gonna put our salsa to the side. Okay, so the honey is still working here. Yeah, there's still some thyme in there, no big deal. There we go. Whoops. What a mess. Whew, it's sticky. Okay, so we are going to put this aside so that it can cool. And that means we can move on to the next recipe, which is going to be the burrata salad. So if you haven't worked with burrata before, it's one of my favorite cheeses. So it's a fresh mozzarella that has inside of it cream and shredded mozzarella or mozzarella bits. So it's very creamy, obviously. Okay. Get my cutting board back out. So yeah, as I was saying with that salsa, I would serve it on fish tacos. You can just eat it with tortilla chips. Or I would grill up some mahi-mahi. That would be delicious with it. Halibut would be really good. Sea bass, if you have that. Maybe even grilled shrimp. Add that to that. Delicious. Okay, so we've got spring mix. So this is an organic spring mix blend. I'm going to rip up the leaves just a little bit so that they're not so large. So this is a mix of arugula, red leaf lettuce, spinach, and I think there's one other thing in here that I'm forgetting. I think there's some green leaf lettuce in there too. Nice and fresh. Okay, put that aside. Move on to a different recipe. There we go. Okay, so for this one, I've got some pre-prepped citrus. I've got carrot oranges, I've got blood oranges, and I've got grapefruit. Because I figure you all don't need to watch me cut up oranges for the whole night, right? Okay, so we'll need some of each of these. So here's our grapefruit. You want to make sure that you don't have a whole lot of seeds in there. Maybe break them up if they're a little on the large side. Okay. Maybe one more, right? Definitely getting our vitamin C in tonight, huh? Okay, and now we have those beautiful blood oranges. Turn on the CC. I don't have that capability, unfortunately. I just have the live transcript. Is it mangling my words? Probably. Okay, and then we've got our Cara oranges, or Cava oranges. Okay, so that's the base. Now we need some fresh thyme. So we're going to take our stems of thyme and take them off the woody center stem. Just get that a nice little chop quick. Okay, now we need to get into that burrata. There's a lot of whey that comes into this. So I'm just going to pour this down. Okay, so the burrata, like I said, is these cute little mozzarella balls, like that. What we're going to do is just tear it apart, and you can see how creamy it is on the inside. And we're just going to tear it into chunks. So this brand is Belgioioso, but there are other brands and varieties out there. This just happens to be the one the co-op carries. Okay, so there's our burrata. So next, fig jam, which if you've never had fig jam before, pretty much just like the inside of a fig Newton bar. And I need another spoon. So we're just going to spoon some of this on top. It says a few spoonfuls or as much as you want. So this will help balance out the sourness of the grapefruit and other citrus. Okay, and now we just have to make our vinaigrette, which is some balsamic vinegar, some olive oil, which they're calling for Persian lime olive oil. Well, I've never seen Persian lime olive oil, so we're gonna just make our own with regular lime. Okay, so a quarter cup of extra virgin olive oil. We're going to do some lime juice in that. Two tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. Thank you for helping out there. Okay, so 1, 2. And then a pinch of salt. And stir that around. And that is the vinaigrette. Just goes right over the top. We'll see if I need to add more. Oh, I was supposed to mix the greens with it. I missed that part. I knew I was forgetting something. That's okay. They'll get mixed this way, right? Yeah, that vinaigrette's really good. Okay, so there it is. There's the salad. So burrata citrus green salad. 2 recipes down, 2 to go. I think that honey is probably cooled off enough for us to work with. So next step is we are going to take ricotta cheese and we're going to whip it with the honey for the avocado toast. Let me find my recipe. Gotta make sure I followed along. Okay. So we're going to put our ricotta into the food processor. Oh, darn. I was probably supposed to not put the honey in first. That's okay, it'll be fine. We've got a problem. It got too cold and it is hard as a rock. So I think we're going to skip the ricotta Well, we won't skip the ricotta. We'll do the ricotta. We'll just do plain honey in it. But I'm gonna have to clean this up first. So maybe don't let your honey boil. I think that might be a big part of what happened here. I think it was just supposed to stay on a low simmer. So this is what happens when you do a recipe for the first time and in front of everybody. But that's the whole point to my classes. This is not supposed to be, you know, this is ridiculous. So we're gonna skip this part. And instead we'll move on to doing this by hand, which is not gonna be hard. My poor little cook stove was just too powerful for it, I think. Okay, so here's our ricotta. And how much honey does it say to use? Because we're still going to do honey. 2 to 3 tablespoons. So thankfully, I still have a good amount of honey here. It just won't have that thyme infusion, but oh well, I think it'll still taste great. So I'm going to get my bread toasted. We've got some multigrain bread from Amazing Grace Bakery. So I'm going to start toasting that. In the meantime, we are going to mix this up. Well, hopefully that's the only failure tonight. This, if you have leftover ricotta when you make this recipe, would be an excellent base for ricotta pancakes. So find yourself a good ricotta pancake recipe. And the nice thing about this brand, let's see. So I'm using the Organic Valley whole milk ricotta. It's already pretty light and fluffy. I've had other brands of ricotta where it was just so dense and packed really tightly. But this is nice and soft. Okay. So that's it for that. So I'm going to clean up my station a little bit while we wait for that bread to toast. We'll move on to the next recipe shortly. The honey fiasco, huh? All right, I am just... Okay, how do you pin it? So if you go up to the view, there's 3 little dots in the corner of the window. So hit those dots and then scroll down and I'll say view, or I'm sorry, pin. Okay, and I'm just going back up through the chat. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry about I'm using my cell phone as camera 1 and laptop as camera 2. And I, for whatever reason, cannot, even though the phone is muted, you're getting the feedback. So my apologies for that. Still have not nailed down the tech issues. Okay, put these away. The toast should be almost done. I kind of had the feeling that the honey wasn't going to work, mostly because, like I said, I let it go to boil and probably should not have boiled it. But it will be okay regardless. Okay. Just seeing what our next steps are going to be. I'll get those out. Well, if I screwed up honey, what am I going to do to scallops? Okay, I'm just making sure that the scallops are dry. We're going to be working with those next, but first I'm going to finish the ricotta toast. Okay, so here's our toast. I'm going to take a ricotta, a nice generous helping of that. Okay. This is one of those recipes that would be excellent for brunch. And now you just lay out your different citrus. And there we go. We could do a little bit of parsley on top just to make it look pretty. This, you know, we could probably do the thyme on top too. That would help, right? And there we go, the ricotta toasts with citrus. All right, so we've got one more recipe to go. And that is the scallops with citrus and ginger sauce. So I'm gonna make the ingredients for the sauce first, just because once those scallops are ready, they're gonna go super fast. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, I'm going to move some stuff aside. We're going to sprinkle our scallops with some salt. So these came really nicely cleaned. Sometimes with scallops, you have to trim them a little bit. There's sometimes a tough kind of membrane on them. Okay, so got that done. So we need an orange, zested and juiced. And there it is. So here's my zester. And when you zest, you don't want to see white. You only want that outer layer of the orange peel. Anything after that, and it's getting into bitter. You don't want bitter. We just want that skin because that's where all of those oils are. Okay. So here's a bowl for our zest. And we need the juice. And put that over here. Probably just do it this way, right? All right, looking pretty good here. Okay, and then we need 1 lemon juiced. Oh, I put that lemon away too soon. Whole house smells of citrus. This is a big lemon. We had Meyer lemons at the co-op for a while. Those smelled so good. We also recently got pink lemons, which, tastes just like a regular lemon, but the flesh is a little on the pinkish side. Sometimes we have lemonade lemons. I just love how much variety there is in citrus. Lots of suction on that one. Okay. All right, we also need ginger for this recipe. So I've got a little knob of ginger. You can use prepared ginger. It's up to you. So let's see, how much? Tablespoon. So you'll notice I'm not even peeling it. You don't have to. Is this working? It's working. Seeing how much further I have to go. That's pretty good right there. Okay. Just want to make sure I've got everything I need. I do. Okay, we're gonna move this out of the way. And bring this guy over. Okay, so the trick with cooking scallops is to get the heat right. So you want to make sure that your pan is nice and hot, but not scalding. And they're gonna go fast. It's about 1.5 to 2 minutes per side. So first I'm gonna do is start up this cast iron skillet. We're gonna let it get nice and hot, and then we're going to use avocado oil to cook the scallops. And the reason for avocado oil is because it has a higher smoke point than olive oil. And because we want this pan to get nice and hot and this oil to get nice and hot, we need to have an oil that's going to have a higher smoke point. Okay, we're gonna need butter for this recipe. And so I'm just letting this pan come up to temp. Find some tongs. So if your pan isn't hot enough, if your oil isn't hot enough, when you put in those scallops, they're just not going to cook well. They're not going to sear, which is what we're looking for. They're just going to get kind of greasy and gross. So we want a good sear on these. Another important factor is to make sure they're nice and dry. If they're not dry, they are, again, not going to sear. Okay, so this is nice and warm. We're going to add this avocado oil. We want to see it shimmer, which it pretty much is. That was quick. Terrific. Okay, so we're going to start off with the bigger ones. Don't want to crowd them. By the time I get these in, it'll be time to flip the other ones. Getting hot. I was a little off. Just checking to see where we're at. We want a nice golden brown. Almost there. can tell if the scallops are ready is if they flip easily. If they stick to the pan, if they don't release, that means they're not ready to be flipped. There we go. That's the color I was looking for. All right, just a minute. The smaller ones are done. Okay, the next step is coming up. Just bring this down. We're going to add a couple tablespoons of butter along with our citrus juices and our zest and ginger. Okay, so we're just mixing this up, cooking that ginger and the zest. Smells so good. Got a lot of splatter going on up here though. Oh my gosh, it smells amazing. Okay, next step is we're going to add these back in. Okay. They smell so good. Let me turn that off. And then the last step would be to finish this off with a little bit of thyme. All right, we're going to pour that sauce over. Oops, sorry, I did that off camera, folks. Okay. And just a little bit of thyme. I have time for days. I'm going to have to make something with mushrooms, I think. Mushrooms and thyme go really, really well together. Okay. All right. And so here is our scallops with citrus ginger sauce. And so obviously I have to try it. So good. Could maybe use just a touch more salt. Spread those around just a little bit so we can get salt on them. There we go. Really easy, really tasty. So that's it, everybody. Those are our recipes. I didn't screw up the scallops, so that's good. So we've got our avocado citrus salsa. We've got the burrata citrus salad. We've got our ricotta toasts, whipped ricotta, which that honey, would have been great, but I think this still looks pretty good even without. So let's try this one. The blood orange got onto that ricotta and stained it pink. And then we've got our scallops with ginger citrus sauce. So that's it for our recipes for tonight. Like I said, the salsa, I'm going to make fish tacos. We're going to have fish tacos and I'm going to use that. It'd be great on crab cakes too. Yeah, I think it's, you could just eat it as a salad. It would be great. And then the burrata salad. So I hope everybody enjoyed tonight's class. If you have any questions, feel free. Now you're really hungry. Awesome. I'm glad for that. I don't know, I get to eat. That's one of the perks of doing this class. So we have lots of other classes. You can visit our website at wholefoods.coop/classes to see the full list. Next month, I'm teaching a class for St. Patrick's Day to honor my Irish heritage. So we're doing, several traditional Irish recipes, including an apple cake that I can't wait to try. We have kids cooking classes, So the next kids class will be Saturday, I want to say the 14th of March. And that one is all things green. So it's a celebration not only of St. Patrick's Day, but also of daylight savings, because that's coming up in March. We have all sorts of wellness classes, health and wellness classes, interest classes, movement classes. So check them out. And I hope you enjoyed tonight. So take care. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you would like to receive the recording from tonight, you can please email me, and I'll put my email in our chat. It's just J Gilbertson, WholeFoods.coop. So you can go ahead and send me an email, and I will send you the video recording once it gets uploaded to YouTube, which will take a couple days because, like I said, my internet is eternally slow. So that being said, thank you everybody again for joining me this evening. I hope you enjoyed the recipes. Good luck with making that infused honey. Remember, don't let it boil, just let it simmer. That was where we went wrong. So again, thanks for joining me and take care. We'll see you next time.